Hello, Bleacher Report listeners. My name is James Hill, and in this live stream today, we are going to be talking about Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach Todd Bowles, because we've done a lot of these live streams here on the Bleacher Report app already, and we've talked about a lot of different things in the past couple of months. We've talked about some wins, we've talked about some losses, and oh, buddy, I guess I should say yesterday's loss versus the Houston Texans was an ugly one. And you guys see the question in the title of this live stream. Is Todd Bowles on the hot seat? Why is Todd Bowles potentially on the hot seat? We're going to be diving into all of that in today's live stream. Thank you to everybody for checking out this live stream over on the Bleacher Report app. Let's go ahead and not waste any more time. Let's just go ahead and dive right into it. And I feel like an important place to start is what the heck happened in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers loss to the Houston Texans. That's a great place to start because, boy, oh boy, it did not go well for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They lost with a final score being 37-39. Now, typically, whenever an offense scores 37 points, you think, yeah, that team probably has a pretty good chance to win a football game. However, the Houston Texans scoring 39. And in scoring 39 points, the Buccaneers defense looked pretty darn rough. CJ Stroud threw for 470 yards in this game. Folks, CJ Stroud broke the NFL record for a rookie quarterback passing yards in a game. Broke a record on Todd Bowles' defense. 5 touchdowns in this game. CJ Stroud was phenomenal, and I don't want to take anything away from him. I think that CJ Stroud is a fantastic quarterback, does not look like a rookie, has overall done a fantastic job with this offense, and I think the Houston Texans are a bright young football team. But again, Todd Bowles, his main calling card is defense, right? I don't have to tell you guys that. I think everybody knows that that is why Todd Bowles was even promoted to head coach in the first place after Bruce Arians retired. Was Todd Bowles was known for having good defenses. We saw it in the Buccaneers 2020 playoff run whenever they went and won the Super Bowl. And overall, it was Todd Bowles' main calling card. And now you're starting to see the cracks form a little bit. This was supposed to be Todd Bowles' bread and butter, and this is not a good look. You had a rookie quarterback break a record on you. You had your offense score 37 points, and your defense, what you are known for, cannot get the job done. It's not a great look. It's not. Whether it be play calling, whether it be over aggression, whether it be guys just not being coached up right. I mean, the Houston Texans had 3 guys with over 100 receiving yards and a touchdown apiece. That's not good defense. I mean, that just is what it is. It's not good defense. Point blank, simple as that. Then you kind of dive a little bit deeper, right? Because it's not just this one game as a reason as to why Todd Bowles is on the hot seat, right? It goes deeper than that. That would be what I would consider an emotional reaction, right? It does go a little bit deeper than that. And I think I want to start by going back to the 2022 season with Tom Brady, with, his last year being what it was. So if we go in and we go back into what happened in 2022, some people are going to give him a pass, and I think that is fair, right? But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it was Tom Brady's last year. He went 8-9. Yes, they still won the NFC South. They got bounced very, very bad in the wild card round, 14-31 by the Dallas Cowboys. This was a much different Tampa Bay Buccaneers team than in 2020, than in 2021. Rob Gronkowski was gone. Ali Marpet was gone. Antonio Brown was gone. There was a lot of talent that had left the football team. But, and also, Todd Bowles had been promoted in March, right before the NFL draft, essentially late March. I put a lot of that on Bruce Arians. I mean, that was just a really ugly type of situation. And it was what it was, right? But, there was still some things that weren't great overall in that year. The offense was clunky, just the vibe was overall different, right? You felt a pretty large shift in terms of what this team could be in the future. Point blank simple as that. And again, not all of it was Todd Bowles' fault. I mean, we saw that Byron Leftwich was eventually fired after the season, and Todd Bowles doesn't call offensive plays. You see that he had co-defensive coordinators, Larry Foote and Casey Rogers. They did an all right job, all things considered. Defensively, you still saw the Buccaneers in terms of passing defense. They had a fantastic passing defense. In terms of rushing defense, not, they were still, a league average, above average, rushing defense. So I think overall, there was definitely some things that didn't go great in Todd Bowles' first year, right? It's definitely some ugly things that had happened. But I know a lot of people have given Todd Bowles a pass on that first year because of all the different circumstances. And I think that that's okay. I think that's fine. But there was definitely some seeds planted there in terms of, in terms of things maybe not looking good, right? The pass rush had taken a bit of a dip. Vita Vea was the lead sacking guy. You weren't getting a ton of production from Joe Tryon and Shawinka, not a ton of production from some of their backup guys as well. Shaq Barrett only played in 8 games due to injury. That is what it is. But it seemed like the pass rush had taken a bit of a dip. It seems like, the secondary was still doing, some good things, but in terms of interceptions, in terms of all these different types of things, it just felt like things were a smidge off for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It felt like things were changing, and it felt like things were not changing for the better, right? Then we go to this year, 2023, and things have not necessarily gotten better, right? For Todd Bowles. They've not. And this is why it's the overarching idea of why Todd Bowles is on the hot seat, right? 3-5, the record is what it is. We've talked about it before. He's brought in Dave Canales, and I think that Dave Canales is a up and down offensive coordinator so far up to this point. I think that's something to be expected considering that, it's his first year in the league as an offensive play caller. That isn't too crazy of a situation in my opinion, but what you're seeing is definitely a continuation of what we saw last year. You take a look at the games, right? The Buccaneers have lost 4 straight. They've lost 5 out of their last 6 games. Not good. And what's been interesting is, again, the dynamic of the team has changed. The overall ability of this team has changed. Now, whereas in 2019, 2020, 2021, let's say 2020 and 2021, where this was a team that was finding ways to win games, last year and this year, the Buccaneers are turning into a team, and I feel like have turned into a team that is finding ways to lose. What do I mean by that? Your defense against the Philadelphia Eagles, who just went to the Super Bowl, only gives up 25 points, right? Not bad. Your offense only scores 11. You go on to the Detroit Lions. You only give up 20 points. You only score 6. The Atlanta Falcons, you only give up 16 points. You only score 13. You only give up 24 points. You only score 18. Now, I know a lot of that is on the offense, right? A lot of that's on the offense. Well, the offense can't score points. Now we're starting to see the reverse. Your offense scores 37 points. And you lose because you give up 39. What is my point in saying this is the overall vibe of this team now is a team that finds ways to lose games. A team that if one thing does well, if the defense does well and only gives up 16 points, 20 points, the offense can't get it done. If the offense scores 37 points, the defense gives up 39. That's what losing teams do. They find ways to lose games. You're not seeing this team play at a complete team level this year. I would argue we really haven't seen it throughout most of the year this year. You may have seen it a bit in week 1 and week 2, but really the only game where you can say they played as a complete team, top to bottom, was the New Orleans Saints game, whenever they won 26-9. That was the most complete version we've seen of this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. And you take a look at the defense. I just brought it up. Folks, it's not getting much better. It's not. The same issues that plagued this Bucs defense, which, hey, to be fair, like Baker Mayfield's playing all right, good touchdown interception ratio, but we go down the defense, it's the same problems that plagued this defense in 2022 than in 2023. Vita Vea is still your leading sacker with 3.5 sacks. He hasn't even played in all the games this year. The pass rush isn't looking great. The secondary isn't looking great. I mean, they just came off their worst game of the year this year. The defense is regressing is my main point. Even from 2022, from even like 2021 to 2020's defense, going into 2022, it took a step back. It regressed. You go into this year, 2023, it regressed. The two best players on the defense right now are by far Levante David and Antoine Winfield Jr. I can't name another guy who has been consistently impactful on this defense. I can't. Can anybody else? I don't know. Maybe you can say Vita Vea, right, who's been able to make some plays here and there. But my point being is that Todd Bowles' calling card, the defense, has been regressing since he became head coach. It's not good. It's not good. And that's one of the biggest reasons as to why I feel like Todd Bowles is on the hot seat, why he should be on the hot seat. We are seeing this team regress. And yes, I know that comes with losing talent, right? But what you see from some of the best head coaches in the league is that they are able to make the most with talent that isn't the best. But look, Houston Texans are a great example, a fantastic example. They just lost to a team that probably doesn't have as much, talent, so to speak, as most teams around the league, but they're still 4-4. You look at some of the other teams around the league as well. The Detroit Lions were a great example. They did a fantastic job last year, and now they're in the driver's seat. I think part of that is due to good coaching. They're in the driver's seat for their division. You see the Minnesota Vikings. They started off 1-4 this year. They're 5-4 this year. They don't even have their star quarterback anymore. A lot of that falls down to coaching, in my opinion. Good coaches find ways to work with the talent that they have and work to just get the most out of the guys that they have and win football games. We're not seeing that with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year. We didn't necessarily see it much with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year, whenever they crawled into an NFC South division title and got bounced in the wild card round. It is what it is. And folks, if I'm being honest, I don't know if this situation is going to get better this year. Unless something drastic changes, you got to question the entire makeup of this team moving forward. Yes, they have some winnable games, quote unquote, in there against the Indianapolis Colts, against the Carolina Panthers, against the Atlanta Falcons, against the Green Bay Packers, the Saints and the Panthers and all those things. But is this a team that you can trust to even win those games now? Can you? I don't think I personally can. And I think a lot of people would say the same thing. So it definitely feels like this team is losing, obviously losing games, but just losing cohesion the more they go on, right? That's what it feels like right now. Point blank, simple as that. This is a team that doesn't look like it's getting better anytime soon. It's slowly being just regressing. You're seeing a slow regression. Like Carlton Davis had his worst game of the year, probably of his career, against the Houston Texans. And the defense isn't looking much better, folks. Obviously, I know a lot of Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans are pretty much done with Todd Bowles at this point. He hasn't lost the locker room yet, right? If that starts happening, things are going to get ugly pretty fast, folks. Point blank, simple as that. Point blank, simple as that. I don't think we're to that point yet, but it may get there at some point. We'll see. And can things change? Yeah, things could certainly change, but things are going to have to change quickly. If they keep on losing, if they keep on extending this losing streak, folks, things aren't going to get better, man. They're not. Things are going to get worse. Now, I will say this. Yes, Todd Bowles, after this really ugly loss that the defense is his forte, it's going to warm up that seat a little bit, right? This was a defining game. Just to kind of focus more on this. This has been a defining stretch. I mean, you lose 2 winnable games against the Atlanta Falcons and the Houston Texans, right? You change the outcome of those 2 games that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should have won. They're 5-3 at this point. Part of that is on coaching. You take the Detroit Lions, you take the Buffalo Bills, all right, it is what it is, right? They could and probably should be 5-3 at this point. This is where you start to see, right? This is where you start to see the seat get warmer, is the Atlanta Falcons and the Houston Texans. Now, I will say this. Todd Bowles ain't going to be fired midseason. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, at least with the Glazer family as the owners, have never fired a head coach midseason. It's never happened. They're not going to start now, right? However, these are going to be the types of games that you look at, that Jason Light looks at, that the Glazer family looks at whenever they say, okay, do we want to keep Todd Bowles around? These are going to be the types of games that you look at. And we'll see, man. We'll see. It's going to be an interesting thing. It really is. And one thing that's interesting to me is that you can feel the pressure now from the media, right? I want to take a quick look at what we've got going on at Bleacher Report just to kind of dive into that more, right? Texans only went 3 for 11 on third downs. All 3 were from, 3rd and 10 or longer. They've allowed 14 such conversions in 2023, 40%. No teams giving up more than 28%, never higher than under 20% under Todd Bowles. It's on Todd Bowles. It's a Todd Bowles thing right there, right? It's just, it's not a good situation. Right now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are slated to have the 8th overall pick. Biggest needs, biggest things, whenever you take a look at, there's just a lot that goes into it, man. They've given up as many second half touchdown passes Sunday in the loss to Houston as they had in the second half of their 7 games combined. Now, some people can call this a fluke. Some people can call this a sign of things to come, man. That's the difficult part of it, right? You had a fantastic, Baker Mayfield played well enough to win the football game yesterday, but it didn't matter in the end. Before Sunday's loss to the Texans, the Bucs were 37-1 in their history when scoring at least 37 points. The one loss came to Dan Marino in the Miami Dolphins in 1985. NFL teams were 24-1 when scoring 31 plus. And now it's 24-2. Now it's 37-2. Again, like Todd Bowles, it's a devastating loss, right? That's an understatement. This was something that the Buccaneers needed to win. And I feel like the coaching fell apart on this, man. I really do. Point blank simple as that. It's going to be interesting, folks. It's going to be interesting to see what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do here moving forward regarding all the different types of news going on, all the different types of... I don't think we're going to start to see stuff come out of the woodwork in terms of guys, being mad in the locker room and guys being whatever it may be, right? But depending on how these next couple of games go versus the Tennessee Titans versus the, other teams that they play with the San Francisco 49ers, again, things might start to get ugly. But just take a quick look at the chat here before we go ahead and head out here. Same thing happened to the Jets. Yeah, I mean, that was something that made a lot of people nervous whenever Todd Bowles was brought in as head coach, was he didn't have a great track record for the Jets. And he was brought in, and now you're seeing similar stuff, right? Especially whenever defense is supposed to be his forte. Like what Robinson is saying in the comments in the chat today. We actually ran the ball yesterday, still couldn't win. Cleveland shows that defense and an offensive running offense can win games. Yeah. But losing teams find ways to lose games. It's true. It's true, man. Got beat by the Falcons with the ball inside the 5-yard line in the closing minutes of the game. Yep. That, it's just, if it's not one thing, it's another. If it's not another thing, it's another, right? That's what happens to losing teams. So, folks, that's it. We've talked about Todd Bowles a lot here today. Thank you guys so much for giving your thoughts and opinions. It's greatly appreciated. I think we'll end it with this. Usually a team takes on the coach's persona. He has no persona at all. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the way to put it, right? It's kind of the way to put it. So Todd Bowles is officially on the hot seat, in my opinion, folks, and apparently in the opinions of a lot of other folks as well, which I feel like is the right decision. Or not the right decision, but that's the right mindset. Todd Bowles should be on the hot seat. Point blank, simple as that. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching this live stream today. Thank you so much for Bleacher Report for having me out here for another live stream. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. Obviously not a fun topic to talk about, but I'm still thankful regardless because, it's just a lot of fun to be here on Bleacher Report and have some fun. So, guys, thank you so much for watching this live stream. Hope you all enjoyed. Thank you for letting me know your thoughts and opinions in the chat as well. I'll see you all in the next live stream here on Bleacher Report, where you can find everything regarding not just the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but every sport, NFL, MLB, NBA, everything, folks. It is a fun time here on Bleacher Report. So thank you guys so much for listening in. Thank you so much for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed. As always, folks, I'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs. See you guys soon.